Hey guys, so welcome to the eighth episode, season 3 of the Teen Whisperer show, where you get to hear the stories and experiences of podcasters and what are the problems that they are facing and how to overcome it. Today, we have a guest who I actually got to know through Instagram when she liked my post. And when I went out to her profile, I was like, she is the next perfect guest in my podcast. Well, she's a freelance copywriter right now, but she has done various jobs in the past, which I will dig about later in this podcast. She is the host of the show, What's It Like with Luce. She actually got some really amazing guests from entrepreneurs to business people. She has done over 30 episodes of as of yesterday, as I've seen. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Lucy Carol Norris. I'm sorry, I actually said your full name. Lucy, welcome to the
That's
show.
okay.
Please tell a little bit about yourself and your podcasting career.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate you asking me. That was really nice of you. So yeah, as you said, I'm a podcast host, a journalist by profession, and at the moment a freelance copywriter. So I wear a few different hats. But yeah, my podcast is What It's Like with Luce, an interview show highlighting ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
Yeah, actually, I kind of had that because it's really nice. The tagline is really nice, I have to say. And what is actually inspired you to do this podcast? Because I know you have been doing this for like 6 months, I think. So January, you have started this podcast as I have researched. So what actually inspired you to do the podcast?
Yeah, so I've been asked this question before, and I'm not sure if there's, a pivotal moment or a moment when it all came to me. But so basically, a few months before lockdown, I was I was working in a 9 to 5 job, and my commute to that job was 2 hours each way, so 4 hours a day. I was sitting on public transport, and I was just getting really bored of my music. Like, I love music, but when you just get to the end of the playlist, you've listened to them so much, and I just couldn't listen to them anymore. So I knew podcasts existed, sorry, but I'd never really delved into that world or explored them at all. So one morning I just decided to swap over to podcasts and fell in love with them immediately. I think the power of listening to someone have a conversation is so underestimated. It's so inspiring and motivating to hear in a very casual, colloquial way how some of the world's biggest entrepreneurs or biggest celebrities or whatever live their lives and how they got to where they were. So that really inspired me. And yeah, I was just listening to them every day on the bus, on the train. And as I am a journalist, I knew that I did have the skills to produce something like that if I wanted to. I was trained in, radio production. So I guess I was just one day listening to them going, why can't I do this? I don't want to work in the corporate world anymore. I'm a bit sick of the monotony of the job that I was doing. It was fun. It was a really great experience as a first job out of college, but I knew that I wasn't going to be there forever. So I just thought, I'm going to start this. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it. And let's see where it takes me, really.
Wow, that's great. And you were saying that you were a journalist, so that's usually really interesting because when you're a journalist, you obviously ask questions to big guys like politicians and stuff. Do you actually have the same kind of how to say the technique of asking questions in your podcast, or is it kind of a different stuff?
That's a good question. So I think in my previous journalistic experience, I've done a lot of lifestyle work, or soft journalism as we call it. So travel, I was heavily involved in fashion journalism for a while. So my style has evolved to be pretty relaxed and chill. Anyways, from the get-go, those were just my interests. I'm very interested in the entertainment world and all that kind of thing, because I wanted to do musical theater as a child, and as a teenager that was my first choice for university. So that world has always been my happy place, I guess. So with that, it comes more of a relaxed approach to questioning. And at the end of the day, I'm not, journalists sometimes have a bit of a bad reputation for trying to catch you out and trip you out and make you look stupid. And there is an element where they have to have that approach when it comes to politicians and things like that, because people want to see them be put on the hot seat for the decisions that they make, and I understand that. But when I ask people on to talk to me, and the mission of what I'm trying to do is not to bring on people and make them look stupid and, you know, scream at them for slipping up on one little word. I'm bringing them on to have a conversation about their life, because something that I've seen in what they've done has inspired me to make a change in my life, or to do something differently, or I'm just genuinely intrigued. So when I prepare, you know, like we all prepare, I guess, as podcasters. You do your research so that you know who the person is sitting in front of you, but I don't really write out long lists of questions. I don't submit questions to the person beforehand or anything, because I want it to be a genuine chat. And I feel like even in journalistic work, if I'm doing more serious pieces, if you can make the person feel comfortable, chilled out, you know, like they're having a chat with a friend, whether you're trying to get a secret piece of information or whatever, you're more likely to get it that way than through screaming at them, you know? So, and I'm not saying that because I'm ever trying to get juicy gossip or anything. That's not what I mean. But you know what I mean? Like, you want people to have a nice experience when they come on. So my approach to questioning is just to have a conversation. Everyone is a person just like you, whether or not they're a massive celebrity or your friend, you know, from school. Everyone is just a human being. They've given up their time to have a chat with you and tell their life story. So my questions are not, they're more just feeders to get the conversation rolling and to move on to the next segment of the conversation, rather than firing bullets at people, you know, trying to get them to trip up. So yeah, I'd say through journalism and through the types of journalism that I've done, and just my approach to things in general, it's pretty relaxed and chill, and it would be the same. But having said that, I do think you do have to harden up a little bit in certain situations.
Yeah, and you know, just don't take this as a negative sense. But was there anyone afraid that you are a journalist and you're a podcaster as well? When someone came on your podcast, that oh my God, I mean, like I'm not saying that in a biased situation, but sometimes people in my side, people always say that journalists kind of ask questions that I don't know, something that instigates them, something that instigates the guest, and like you said, taking the dirty secret out of them in a calm way, it's good, but in some ways that's not. So was there anyone was afraid to come on to your show, like saying that oh my God, Sejal, what's going to ask me? I mean, even though it's a podcast, still people will ask some personal questions like how did you get onto the show and all that stuff. So was there anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of. No one has said it to me.
But I think that's good. That's good. If no, it's not deliberately said, means it's good.
Yeah, like I have had really good feedback from guests saying that they've enjoyed themselves chatting to me, and that's all I want at the end of the day. I want everyone to be happy in the situation. I could understand why speaking to a journalist could be potentially a bit more scary than just a kid that wanted to start a podcast. But I'm not sure if people, unless you did your research on me, I don't know, I can't remember now if I've put it in my bio of my podcast that I am a journalist. I'm not sure if people even know when they talk to me. But I was actually interviewing a Indian DJ the other day, DJ Sartek. He's like an incredible guy. He's done so much for DJing in India, and he said to me at the end, he was like, oh wow, this was really fun. It felt like I was talking to my friend and not a really scary professional journalist. And I was
because
like,
Indians, we know
amazing
how it feels. We know, talking to a journalist, we know how it feels. So yeah, I can feel him when he said that.
Yeah, so that was nice to hear, because I don't want to make anyone ever feel like that, especially since they're giving up their time to talk to me, and to as much as podcasting is a two-way street, you offer them a platform to promote whatever they want to promote, and they can use it as marketing material. They're also giving you that content too, and especially since my show is an interview show, without the interviewee, I wouldn't have a show. So but also, having said that, like I'm never afraid to ask a question that I want to ask. I'll say, I'll phrase it in a way where it's not offensive or anything like that, but I'm not going to always make every interview just a PR stunt. Like if I have a question that I want to ask, or if something controversial has come up in their life, I'll ask them, and if they don't want to answer, they just have to say I don't want to answer it. It's cool. So yeah.
Yeah, I think so really, because after 6 months of being podcast, you must have some things in mind that if I could go back and correct those mistakes, there'll be some kind of list of things that I shouldn't do. I shouldn't have done, because obviously there are many people who put up in their YouTube videos that I wish I knew this if I was 20. I wish I knew this if I was 30, something like that. So is there anything like mistakes that you went through that you think that if I couldn't have done this, I could have get more listeners or get more stuff like that? Is there anything mistakes that you wish that you could have changed?
Um, I think luckily I did know what I was getting myself into before I started, because I have had that training in
Mm-hmm.
radio production on both sides of the fence, in the production and in the hosting side as well.
Mm-hmm.
I did know what I was getting myself into, so I had that prior experience where I made my mistakes in college. So I don't think there's too many major things I could say, oh, I wish I didn't do that yet. Anyway, for me,
Yeah.
like 6 months is it's still pretty new. I don't, like, ask me in a year and I might have more, but
Mm-hmm.
um sometimes, I'm definitely more on the better and more on the hosting side than on the production side. So it's just where my interest lies. So there's been some episodes, like the first episode that I did, I recorded in a hotel lobby. So there's a lot of background noise, which I half knew I shouldn't have done at the time, but I was accommodating what the guests wanted, and I didn't, he would have been flexible to
Yeah.
move, but I just didn't, I was too nervous, I guess, to make demands. So I didn't change that location, and I probably should have. Um, yeah, like there's maybe some things I could always brush up on my production skills, always, but it's not where my interests are. I don't like editing. Editing is the worst part for me. I like chatting, I like talking to the people, I like researching them and finding out things about their life. Like the actual production side is just like a byproduct of what you have to do to get it out there, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not what I enjoy. So yeah, there's definitely probably things I could have brushed up on and done better at, in that sense, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like, because you as you were saying that the guest that you were getting onto your show, it's like, I don't know. I mean, like, different sorts of things that you guessed is like really unique, because every single time when I look at your post, it's like one time it was like a startup entrepreneur, another time it was like model, someone like that. So how do you actually figure out that this person is an ideal guest for me? Because it's like a client, because if that person doesn't set your vibe, if I'm talking right now and you are like when this podcast get over, I mean, if you felt like that, then definitely I can see it in your face itself. Obviously it's going to, I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know right now because I'm not that much of a predictor, but still I'm saying.
it's
So
going well, it's going well.
thank you for that. So how do you actually get not actually get them to your podcast, but how do you actually know that this is the person is the right guest for us? Because an hour long for even an hour and a half, it's spending time, it's really great. So how do you actually know that this was the perfect guest for us?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think at the end of the day, because there is that thing where there's a million I don't know the exact number, but there's a lot of podcasts out there, especially since quarantine hit. It's become a bit of like a trending thing to have a podcast. Um, and so I think what makes each podcast unique, and the starting point for all of it, is the person behind the production, and the host. And that's what separates each podcast from each other. It's the host and how they choose to do things and the style and all that kind of thing. So honestly, not not in a terrible way, but I don't really think of, say, the audience when I'm choosing a
Hmm.
guest. I think of myself, not in a selfish way, but I pick people that I want to know more about. And I think in doing that, it creates an authenticity and a
Hmm.
genuine interest that then translates into a good interview.
Yeah.
If you're genuinely interested in knowing about this person, then you're going to ask better questions, you're going to
Hmm.
have a conversation with them, you're going to be engaged, because um, if you just choose someone, I don't know, say, like, you could play the Instagram game, say,
Hmm.
and like always reach out to people with huge amounts of followings or things like that. You have no interest in them, you don't care, but you only want to use them for their cloud, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't see the point in doing that, because at the end of the day, yes, they can share something, but if you haven't produced a good episode or something that's worth listening to,
Hmm.
then Justin Bieber could share it and you'd probably get a boost in your numbers, but it wouldn't be anyone that would stay or come back for more because they can hear in your voice. Like voices are a lot more deceptive than faces, I think sometimes. So people forget that, like you can hear the truth in someone's voice. And so yeah, from that perspective, I choose who I genuinely want to know more about. Sometimes there'll be people that I come across on Instagram, or sometimes I'll just be people that I come across and watching a YouTube video, and I came across some random documentary and someone was in it, and I was like, oh, I want to know this about this person that the interviewer didn't ask in the documentary. I'm going to reach out to them so that I can ask that question. It's that kind of a process. There isn't really I've looked at my listener demographics and I think, okay, this person will appeal to this because these numbers, and like, it's really not that planned out or strategic. It's like, this person looks cool, I want to talk to them, how can I do it?
Yeah, I think it's good because, if you are selecting someone that's comfortable with you, so that you can actually, create a better episode of that instead of, what your audience want, because obviously what your audience want is something that's actually, nice to hear and informative to hear. So these are two things I think. So, mostly people want, and, it's making me guilty because when I was actually starting out, on around, I think so, December or September, I think so, I was starting my podcast, and I just put out some episodes, like, just recorded in my really, really old mobile, and I was just recording and putting out stuff. And how actually I got guest was, I go to Instagram, I go to put hashtag entrepreneur. I just DM'd every single person who was, on the recent tab, every single one. It doesn't matter how many likes they have, how many followers they have. I just DM'd everyone. I just, wanted to get starting out. I think so. Maybe not, didn't care about, the audience and stuff. Just want to know how it actually feels when you're talking to someone. And it's actually, I mean, like, what's your thoughts on people spending their time without, giving any sort of monetary, returns of that? Because it's really, because you're spending half an hour or 1 hour of your time, giving me content, giving yourself content. So without any monetary charges, without any money involved in it. So what do you feel? Do you think it will last? Do you think podcasting will last like this without any, monetary returns?
Yeah, so so the money thing is interesting for me because um as a journalist, I think it's no secret that, like, until you're reading the news on TV, you get paid practically nothing. So I think in terms of monetary return, yes, I have not paid any of my guests to come on, but I know that it's my show and something that I wanted to do, but I'm also not being paid as a host either. And I think more of my time goes into it than theirs. And I know that as I said, you need them to create the content and things. But in terms of a playing field, I guess, I wrote a blog post on this on my website the other day, reasons why podcasting is great for business. And I think what more people will soon start to realize and figure out is that actually, yes, you're not getting a monetary return for giving up that hour of your time to speak to me, but you're getting unlimited marketing avenues that you can use again, so you're getting a platform to share your vision and your idea without any of the PR BS. I'm not going to swear in your podcast, but you know what I mean? Like, you don't, you have the chance to sit there and have a genuine chat. And, there's a lot of talk flying around these days about personal branding, thanks to the likes of like Stephen Bartlett, Gary Vee, all of that kind of thing. The personal brand is everything. People buy into people, not things. And I think podcasting is the way to build your personal brand, because you can go and you can talk to a million news outlets. You'll get 5 minutes on there. Sometimes you'll have to pay to go on there because they have a bigger platform, and you get 5 minutes where an interviewer is firing questions at you. Usually they probably don't really care who you are, what you're doing. It's their news segment. They've got this one to do in 20 minutes and they've got another one to do. A podcaster is giving you their undivided attention to get the best out of you for the best content, and then So you can get across your message to a whole new diverse group of people that might not have been in your marketing pool before. You can have a chat, you can show people that you're not some, in terms of entrepreneurs, not some scary hard person in a suit and a briefcase. You're a human, and you just have this idea that you're so passionate about. And I think podcasting gives people the opportunity to get that passion across without
Yeah.
making sure you get these 5 buzzwords in so that you get picked up by this whatever. And you have an hour. You rarely get that segment in traditional media.
Yeah.
So I do think there's a lot of return for the person coming on as well. And then you have this hour-long interview that you can repurpose for everything. You can put it on your website, you can share it. If you're not into media, or you're not into having to do that to promote your business, get on a podcast, have an hour-long chat, get everything out that you want to say. And anytime any media outlets reach out to you, you send them the podcast and say, whatever you want to know about me and my brand is in this. Use quotes, do whatever. I don't want to talk to you. You have that platform to
Yeah.
use again and again. So I actually think you get a hell of a lot more return in invested time than you would if I paid you, I don't know what, €100 to come and sit and talk to me. And as well, that's so ingenuine. I think if you have to be paid to talk to me, then we're not going to have a good chat, because you
Yeah.
don't really want to be here. You just are here because I'm offering you money.
Wow, that's
So
deep.
I think it doesn't really work from that side. Yeah, but you know what I mean? It doesn't work from that side either. If you don't have a vested interest in being a part of this, then it's not going to be a good collaboration, I think.
Yeah, I can totally, because I've spent with people, because there was this podcaster that I was recording with, and he actually charges for his services. He actually does podcasting and podcast services like editing and recording and all the stuff, and he literally charges like $2,500 for his premium service. And he's
Wow.
actually a really great guy. And actually, through podcasting, I actually got a job from him itself. He said that I don't know, actually I couldn't hire any more guys, so I am a video editing guy. So he said that, could you edit this for me? And he said he gave me, and he paid me $100. And how good he was is that I really suck at pricing. I have no idea how to do pricing and stuff for my services. I said, okay, I'll charge $40. And he said, you're charging really less. I'll give you $100. Do this, and we'll have this as a test run. And before this, I'm like, I was seriously astonished. Who would anyone pay extra for a charge that you actually said less? Who would anyone say extra?
Yeah, that's
So,
so nice.
and I was really amazed. So yeah, I think it's really great. Podcasting is like this. I hope it ends like this. And just one thing is that as I said, I went through your LinkedIn account, not in a stocky way, like podcast research
It's okay.
stuff.
I do that as well. Don't worry.
Yeah, podcast research stuff. So you worked in many places, as I've asked before. So what is that thing actually you learned, relating to humans? Like, because I went through a lot of people in my life. Like around I actually studied in 5 different schools until my 12th grade, and UG and undergraduate and postgraduate I'm doing right now in different colleges. So I've literally met like thousands or 2,000 people, I think so. But some people remember me, I don't remember them. Some I remember, they don't remember me. So I've learned a lot, like how to deal with people and all the stuff. So what is something that you actually dealt with, in the workplace stuff, because you work many places. So is there anything like specific, like, do this and do that, do's and don'ts relating to human related stuff? Is there anything like that?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I
Oh
don't.
my
I
God.
don't really like think. I just do. I think for me, respect is massive. If you want to get on with anyone or anything in life, you need to respect the position that the other person is coming from always. Whether you agree with, how they live their life, what they're doing, whatever, you need to show them the respect that you want them to show you. So I think in a workplace, so my workplaces have been so different because I think there's nowhere on the planet like a newsroom. There's almost like a newsroom etiquette. It's crazy. Like, it's very informal. Everyone is screaming at everyone. It's chaos all the time. Then I was working in fashion showrooms, which were a bit the same, but then there was a bit more of, the stereotypical fashion drama bits that went into that too. And then when I worked in like a really, really corporate very run-of-the-mill high pressure office, I was really nervous because I was so used to the relaxed colloquial environment where you're just a bunch of creatives running around all the time and
Mhm.
there's no real rules. So I remember being really, really nervous. And yeah, I'm actually quite a shy person. I'm not super extroverted when you
That's
first
so
meet
doubtful, I
me,
think so.
in those situations. No, but I actually am. So like I was really nervous going into that job, but I just think if you carry that mantra that show the respect that you want to be given,
Mhm.
people will never take you up the wrong way, and approach every situation with an open mind, because you never, ever, ever know what that person is going through behind closed doors. If they're horrible to you on one day, rather than taking the attitude of, oh, writing that person off, they were so nasty to me, today, and I'm not cool with that. Rather approach the situation for you as well, so that you don't carry around all this anger for
Mhm.
people. Maybe something terrible happened to them in their personal life that you don't know about, and they just weren't able to deal with today, and write it off as that rather than the other thing, and try again tomorrow, or
Yeah.
also just stay away from people that you don't get a good vibe from in the first place, and then you won't even have an altercation. um,
But it's
but
hard to
yeah, I
know.
think respect.
It's hard. Sorry for
It is hard
interrupting.
to
It's
know,
hard to
yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me, so I, like you, I've moved around quite a lot. I used to live in
Mhm.
Africa as a kid, and I went to college in the UK when I'm from Ireland. So I've also, been around a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, walks of life, everything. And so I think if you just approach everyone on that neutral thing of, you never know what they're going through, so
Mhm.
give everyone a chance, and respect whether they give it back to you or not. You carry yourself showing that respect, and then no one can ever take you up wrong, I think. I don't know, that's just how I do it.
Oh, that's great. And just a curious question. It's not a relatively new podcast and stuff, but I actually watch a lot of Hollywood movies. And you said that you moved around a lot. So I've seen many movies that when kids move around a lot, they get bullied in different schools as new kid and all stuff. Is it actually true in real life as well? Because I don't know. Because after seeing Hollywood, literally Hollywood romance and stuff, I really get jealous of sitting in India right now. So I mean, like, I don't know why I'm actually still here when I can also do, like, talk like stuff and all that stuff and all those things that in a good way, of course. So yeah, I mean, like, is it actually true? The when kids move around, new school, bullying, is it actually true and all that stuff?
I think it really depends on your situation. Like, I definitely, like, Hollywood movies, I wouldn't base life off of, because knowing what, and you would know as well, knowing the amount of editing that goes into TV
Yeah.
and things, like, nothing is real. But yeah, I think so. I moved when I was 15,
Mhm.
which is a pretty hard age to move anyways. You're in those, like, awkward teenage
Yeah.
phases, like the world's against you and stuff. So um but yeah, I think, well, I didn't experience bullying or anything like that. I
Mhm.
experienced periods of I guess finding my feet, or it taking me a bit longer to find my feet. But um I'm an observer when I enter new situations. I guess I kind of sit back and see what the vibe is, what's going on, before I jump in. So yeah, I think it depends on you as a person. It depends on how you receive the situation initially. If you're sorry, if you're open to letting the experience
Mhm.
take whatever form it's going to, or if you're very closed off and negative about the situation, which might not be your fault. It depends on, if you're being operated and you don't want to be, that's not your fault. You're a kid, you can't do anything about it. um but yeah, if you approach it with an open mind,
Mhm.
then I guess you can kind of dictate the terms of it. And I'm fortunate that I've never experienced, harsh bullying or anything like that. I went to an all girls school. We've all had the little, bitchy
Uh,
comments or whatever that comes with the territory. But yeah, I think I'm also just able to think from a position of, if you don't like me, that's cool. No one has to like everyone. I just, you're never going to be everyone's cup of tea, I think. So
yeah.
you just do you and you'll be good.
Sorry, I'm actually asking too much of personal questions. It's just that, I'm kind of, guy who actually believes that a person's background plays a really, really major role about what they're doing right now. Because I'm kind of guy who's like, do everything and regret nothing. Because
Yeah, I
whatever,
love that.
yeah, whatever I've done, in the past, whether it's good or bad, it's actually got me here. What I'm doing right now, whatever it is, that it's actually got me here. So yeah, like, it's not like I'm interested in people's past, but what actually motivates them, what motivated them in order to get here and do all the stuff that they're doing right now. So yeah, I think because you are like taking a pause right now, and I must think, oh my god, how could you ask this question? I thought you were thinking that, but you know just
No,
that.
not at all. Listen, we spoke about it already. Like, I feel like the whole interview being like, I'm a journalist, but literally being a journalist, like, you can ask me any question you want and I will figure out an answer for you. So don't be afraid.
Ah,
Ask me what you
that's
want.
you're challenging me right now. Oh my god,
I
I'm
know. I know how to spin it.
oh, that's great. That's great. So, this one technical question I want to ask you is that how should actually one choose their own podcast topic or their niche? Because now people say that do podcasts on your interest or your passion, but do you think when people do that, it will always succeed? Okay, because just let us know. If it not, then how to actually move on according to that.
Yeah, so I think, like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat things,
Mhm.
sometimes things just won't work. It doesn't matter how much love, passion, energy, time you put into it. Sometimes things just aren't meant to take off. And if you speak to, even entrepreneurs of companies or whatever, like some people I've spoken to in the past, yeah, so yeah, basically everything isn't always going to work out no matter how much you love something. If it doesn't have a wide enough audience, sometimes it just won't work. But also, I think on the flip side of that, going with your passion, I I guess it's just the best way to go in the beginning, and then you can alter it later, because if you start something that you're genuinely interested in, it will show.
Mhm.
If you start something because you're hopping on the bandwagon of, I don't know, let's take like quarantine chats or something like
Mhm.
that's kind of been like, I'm not, that's no disrespect to anyone that started a podcast about quarantine chats, I don't mean like that, but you know what I mean. If you actively go searching for the trend and then just hop on it, if you have an interest in it, cool. Yeah, I think you just can't hop on trends for the sake of it if you don't have a genuine interest,
Mhm.
because it will just show straight away. So I think when picking your niche, well, I always say, um I'm not really sure about the word niche, because in
Mhm.
terms of podcasting, because I do believe that what makes each podcast unique is its host, which dictates its style. So in my podcast, I never wanted it to be about me. It's not about me. It's about the people that I bring on and their story. I'm just there to facilitate their story being shared. But having said that, it's a very personal thing. You're a one person show. You don't have a production team. Well, some people do if they're lucky, but you don't have a production team. You don't have researchers. You don't have people to write your jokes or your lines or anything. So everything that comes and goes into it is from you, and each person is different. So therefore, just by default, it's going to have a particular style that's dictated by the person that runs it. So I think that your podcast finds its niche, not the other way around. Obviously, in more general terms, if you want to do a podcast about horses, that's pretty niche. But even still, in this day and age, I feel like you're going to find a podcast on anything. Like,
Yeah.
if you think of something, someone will have already probably done a podcast on that. So again, like, then it's not a niche if everyone else is doing it, if there's a lot of people doing it. So how am I going to make this different or whatever? It
Mhm.
will just be different by default because you are different from the next person that's doing it. So
Yeah.
just go with whatever you want to talk about. Whatever you want to talk about, go back to your why. Think of the
Mhm.
reason why you want to put a microphone in front of you or in front of someone else. And because it's a lot of work once you commit, as you know as well. Like, there's a lot of
Yes.
stuff that goes into it. So unless you have a genuine interest in what you want to talk about.
Yeah, I guess, because the podcast that I'm actually doing right now is all about how to do podcast. My podcast is all
Yeah.
about podcast itself, like, how did podcast deal with problems and everything and stuff. I can totally understand that. So two final things, before going off that. This is kind of stuff that one question is I actually got from another podcaster. He actually told me, ask this question in your podcast because it's kind of really good. The question is, who's the last person that you actually made smile today?
Oh wow, I love that question. I guess you, because it's 9:30 in the morning
Yeah, in the
here for
morning. Yeah,
me.
I was actually wondering, you would say yourself, you woke up in the morning and saw in the mirror, you smiled yourself. I actually thought of saying yourself. Uh,
Oh no, I'm not that happy in the morning. I'm not a good morning person.
yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah, it's only like, I think it's like what, 10 here. So I haven't, well, not that I don't know, in this weird kind of quarantine, kind of not space if I am going to see other people today, but yeah, I think, yeah, would probably be you. But I love that question. That's so nice.
I'm honored by the way. That's great. So the second question is that I always ask this, my podcast is that, what do you think is actually the best tip that you can give to a fellow podcaster in order to grow, according to your version?
Oh, growth is such a hard one, because like I would never, I've not cracked it yet. I'm still like very small.
Whatever, whatever you've gone through for, because what you're doing right now is actually kind of good, because you've interviewed many people, and you have around more than 1,000 followers on Instagram. You have a YouTube page and many kind of LinkedIn stuff, I think so that's actually literally itself is growth. So it's your version, no problem. It's not that, but people who are below you, so no problem.
Well, yeah, okay. So I guess leading off of what you said, use social media to your advantage. Get on everything. If there is some kind of a platform that you can promote yourself on, get on it. The only thing I haven't really ventured into yet, because I haven't figured out a strategy of like how to do it. TikTok, I don't know if you have TikTok.
Yeah, actually India is the first country to use the TikTok. Like, the number of users in is the highest in India. So
Really?
I actually know all about that, because I mean, like, not many people actually use it for the productive stuff, like podcasting and stuff, but for entertainment it's totally booming.
Yeah.
If you go and put hashtag India, trust me, the number of people who have posted for that follows is extremely amazing. We have like vivid imagination of people. So I'm not exaggerating, but coming out to the entertainment stuff, trust me, it is.
Yeah. That's kind of half of my issue with TikTok, is like it's such a strange atmosphere, like strange environment, that I don't know what to do on it. Like I don't know how to go on it. So yeah, that's something I haven't really cracked yet. But having said that, yeah, just get on anything. Tell everyone that you meet about your podcast. Like, shamelessly plug yourself, because you've put hard work into this. It's a show that you're proud of. It's something, never be embarrassed to tell people what you're doing. It's work, it's a body of work that you've put time and energy into. You should be proud of it, and you should just tell the world about it. So create content that relates to your podcast. Like, I watched something that Gary Vee said. I don't know if you know Gary Vee.
Yeah, of course I know.
Yeah. And it was something along the lines of like, you have to give something back to your audience in terms of content. So you have to create something that they can use to help themselves. So think of ways to market your podcast that isn't just listen to my podcast. Do that as well. You need to do that too. But I don't know, like, create a video on tips or something like that. I don't know, like, you'll have to think of it yourself, but not you, just like in general, the audience.
Yeah, the audience, of course.
You need to think of it. No, but yeah, like, just get on everything, shamelessly plug yourself, because you deserve it. You've put in the hours, so why not? That's just what I've found, I guess. But if you know the secret to growth, please tell me, because
actually, I don't know. I'm the the guy who asks questions. So you are the journalist, right? You challenged me that.
Yeah.
You said so. It's your answer, right? It's yours. Just put on your phone. Just simple as that. Because don't put too much effort in it, because people don't want to be formal in this platform. People want literally totally informal. So if you do that, trust me, you'll blow in TikTok. Trust me.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you for that. I'm going to give that a try.
Yeah, you definitely give that a try. So Guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. And in this podcast, we actually discuss a lot of many things, a lot of personal stuff also. So I'm not going to leave timestamp on that, but you have to listen to the whole podcast in order to get that good stuff out of it. So the things that we have discussed, like how to pick up podcast niche, or your interest, and how to bring on guests, and what are the expectations of guests, and how to overcome that, and what are the mistakes that you could actually correct in order to get into your podcast and it into people. And no worries, I will leave every single thing in the timestamps below, so you can get to that as a part of this video. And just one more thing I want to ask is that, is there anything else you want to ask me? That's I forgot to ask.
Hmm. What
Not
do
the
I want to
journalist
ask
stuff.
you? Yeah. What piece of advice? What, having been through my platform, and I don't know if you've listened to some of my stuff.
Yeah.
What advice would you give me?
Actually, you actually do this audiograms kind of picture, right? So my advice is create more attractive audiograms, like
Okay.
not just this space and those stuff. And you don't do a video podcast, like with your guest, you don't do that?
Yeah, no, work in progress.
Okay, so no problem. Then what you can do is whenever you are talking, like if you are talking, take a video of yourself from your side itself. Because not just if you guests don't talk, that's fine, but if you're talking, take a video from yourself, so that you kind of can, people want to see more of people talking, rather than picture
Mhm.
and audiogram and stuff's going on. So yeah, I think that's one thing. And your graphics is good. Graphics, you get a really like aesthetic feel you have, that's good. So only thing is that just get more kind of people talking inside that. So that's something that I actually like, when podcasters come in, instead of just seeing the picture running and stuff, if people
Mhm.
are actually talking inside, I think it'll be great. And you're putting on YouTube as well, so yeah, I think that's the only thing I think.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate
I
that.
literally kind of really mumbled a lot, because I no one would ever ask me this question, like what's your take on no one would
Criticize
ever
me.
yeah, no one would ever ask me that, so it's kind of hard to give review for that. But
No,
yeah,
I want the honest feedback. Like, everyone wants to know what they can do to be better. So that's really helpful. Because obviously, like, I can't see it from an
yeah.
audience member's point of view. I see things a million times. I listen to them a million times. Like, by the time it goes up, I'm like, oh, enough. I've heard this so many times. So
Yeah,
it's nice to hear from a listener what you would like to see more of.
yeah,
So thank
just
you.
just get yourself into the picture, because the more people see the face of that podcast and stuff, I think it will be really great. So yeah, I think that's.
All right. Thank you. Okay.
So guys, thanks so much for listening. And I've given every link to her in the how to connect with her in LinkedIn, where there will be a list of things that she has done. Definitely go and check that out. I really really appreciate you. Go and check that out. And on your YouTube page and Spotify link and everything is given in the description. So guys, you can go and check that out. And Lucy Carol Norris, thank you so much for coming out to this podcast. It really means a lot. So guys, I'll see you in the next podcast.